from experimental stage. Experimental stage is the first stage of addiction. Experimental stage. This is where you get into addiction due to peer pressure and influence. You get into addiction so that you can fit into that clique of friends. You have clique of friends.
Yes.
You are friends. So that you can fit in. And because they are taking, you must take to feel part. For acceptance in that clique, you have to take alcohol. Right?
Yes.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
That is the experimental stage. You are taking in small quantity and you take for acceptance in a certain social setup. To feel part of a certain social setup. Okay?
Yes.
Now we go to social stage. Social
stage.
Now you start taking. I'm talking about alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start taking when you are going to maybe events, harusi, sijui ni Friday inaitwa aje? Siku ya sherehe.
Yeah.
Siku ya sherehe. Friday. Furahi day. Siku hizo wanaita furahi day. Wanasema ni kufinish kumalo. Right. So the social stage, ati imefika Friday ni kupiga sherehe. Now you have to go out, hang out with those friends. Right?
Yes.
And take alcohol or abuse drugs. Okay? And then you now graduate. You are graduating. Everything in life, you graduate. You see, as I earlier said in the book of Jeremiah 17:10, the human mind is the most deceitful of all human creations, right? No one can understand it. You cannot understand your mind. Haikuambia ati you are graduating to another level. Hapana, you just get yourself there. Okay? You just get yourself in that stage. Haikuambi. Maybe someone else can now see, oh, he has started taking 2 bottles now. He started with a single shot. He's now taking 2 bottles. When I was in university, I'm lucky to have joined Kenyatta University. I made it to university after high schooling at Nyambari Boys High School. So I made it to Kenyatta University. And this is how I started drinking. There is my friend I met in campus, and it was a freshers night. In campus there was freshers night in Apuanga, October. Normally in October, freshers night. Okay. The freshers night we have entertainment and a lot of activities there carried out there. Okay. So we went to freshers night, and he told me, hey. The psych, it was hyped, like the cycle ilikuwa juu. Everyone enjoying himself, and he told me, brother, what we do, see, Jesus made wine. Yeah, Jesus made wine. Hallelujah. Jesus made wine. Now what we do, we go take Penasol. Penasol is it's a brand of a wine. It's called Penasol. Okay. Don't go looking for Penasol. I'm just saying it for clarity. We took Penasol, and I told me now, let us drink this so that we can be high. And high. We can get to the same level as others. So that we can feel good. Okay? That's how we took Penasol. And we were high a little, just a little, half a glass of Penasol, and it's not a hard drink. So, and we were high kidogo. I felt nice, and I loved dancing. So the dancing styles, the moves were coming. I felt nice, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. But I had entered a trap. That was not easy to get out. So coming to instrumental stage, that is when you can go out yourself. You can go out yourself. You get out, you dress up in the evening, you go out after work or after your activities, daily activities, you get out and go to a bar or a joint, and now take a drink by yourself. Okay?
Yes.
Unajibaia without anyone else, mtu kukuambia ati tuende to buy. Now it is part of your routine. You see? Daktari was talking about routine. Okay? And you see, our mind is made up in a way that it gets to make you what you do describes you and makes you. It becomes a lifestyle. If you start waking up at 4, you realize that you now not need an alarm to wake you up. You reach a level that you not need an alarm because that is a routine. Your mind has been set up. Okay?
Yes.
Now at this point, at instrumental stage, your mind will be set up. That ikifika sijui Friday ama jioni, you have to go out and take a drink. And without going out and take a drink, you will not be yourself, because there are hormones that are responsible for pleasure. Dopamine. Without going out, dopamine will not be produced. Okay? And let us understand that addiction is not all about alcohol. We have different forms of addiction. We have different forms of addiction. We have drug and substance abuse. That is where alcohol is incorporated. Okay? We have sex addiction. Okay?
Yes.
People are addicted to sex. Okay? We have pornography. Watching pornography. Okay?
Yes.
People are addicted to watching pornography, and it has very severe consequences. Okay?
Yes.
We have gambling, money addiction, gambling, betting. Okay? People are addicted to gambling. You can be addicted to, and it has very severe consequences. So all these forms of addictions are a chronic relapsing brain disease. Now coming to compulsive stage, this is where you can no longer control yourself. You are out there, you have to go, in the morning you have to go and, have you ever heard people say, naenda kutoa lock? No, you have heard about naenda kutoa lock. The lock that they are talking about at naenda kutoa lock, the lock they are talking about is their brain. You see, the substance has taken over your brain, that without using it, your brain remains locked. Other processes in your brain don't function. Okay? It has manipulated the brain, your brain entirely, that you cannot think. The only thing that you can do is think about the drug. Okay? So when someone goes out in the morning and takes a little portion of alcohol, he feels nice. The dopamine is produced. The feel-good hormone that is responsible for pleasure. Okay? When it's produced, you feel now great, and you feel the lock is now out. Practically, you are adding alcohol to your system. Okay?
Yes.
Now, at compulsive stage, this is where you do activities, unimaginable activities. Yourself, you feel comfortable doing, But other people see there is a problem here. And actually, these problems are bringing you psychological, physiological effects to yourself. Okay? This is a stage where you cannot manage yourself. You cannot
manage yourself.
Manage yourself. Everything is out of hand. That is the compulsive stage of addiction. So addiction has effects. It affects the whole wheel of life. Addiction is actually a real monster that has robbed men and women their destinies. It affects the whole wheel of life. When I'm talking about gurudumu la maisha, that is the whole wheel of life. Gurudumu la
maisha.
Now addiction is affecting your gurudumu la maisha. Like you may die anytime. Like you can lose it. You can lose everything anytime. How do you feel about this? Bad?
Yes.
You feel bad? Fearful? Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Something that can rob you, your destiny. You want to be a doctor? Engineer? Engineer. Now there is something that can rob your destiny at a go. How do you feel about that?
Beat.
You're freaking out. You feel fearful. You fear something that can rob you your life. You just die instantly. You fear? What about you? You don't have anything to say about it. Something that can take away everything. You see, you're really invested in education. To these levels that you are, you have invested in education, right?
Yes.
You have an investment. You are in grade 9, grade 8. So learning to grade 8 is an investment. Do you know that? Do you know that you have an investment? You have gone through all the stages to grade 8. That is an investment. Okay?
Yes.
You will go to Form 4. That is additional investment. You go to university because I see everyone here is bright. You'll be making it to university. That is additional investment. You will go to do masters. That is additional investment. And then you will proceed to PhD. What is the definition of PhD?
PhD.
Permanent head damage. Doctor of philosophy. And you will be doctor. Like Dr. Andrea. Right?
Yes.
That is an investment. Okay? You hear people, some people are called scholars, academicians. That is an investment. Okay?
Yes.
And that is working on your brain or working on yourself is the biggest of all investments. Working on your... You see, we were told to study in schools, but we were not told, we were not reminded to study ourselves. Because in any case, our God created us in a very unique way. Everyone is created in a very unique way. Different ways, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have strengths, you have weaknesses. Nobody has it all, okay? And nobody has none, okay? Everybody has his or her own strengths. Everybody has his or her own weaknesses. Now, studying yourself, self-awareness. You heard I talked about self-awareness. Be being aware of you is a very important investment that we should undertake. Studying yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and accepting everything in you. If you are short, what can you do about it? What can you do about your being tall? What can you do about coming from a very poor background? What can you do about it?
Improve. To make
You
a
work
change.
hard to change.
Yes.
So there are things that you can change. Okay? And there are things that you cannot change. And that is very important to note and realize. And now there comes acceptance. You have to accept that, oh yes, I come from a poor background and this can be overturned. I can do this. I can change this by going to school, because what you have right now is excelling academically. Can you go work in a bank right now? You cannot, because you are not qualified.
Yes.
Okay? So the only thing that you have, the only sword that you have right now as a soldier that is going to change the situation at home is education. That is the only thing that you should look at. That is the only focus that you should have. You should understand that education is everything right now. Okay?
Yes.
We should be clear on that. So we have effects of addiction. It affects the whole wheel of life. It is a real monster that affects the whole wheel of life. Okay? So it affects, number one, our health. Addiction affects our health. Okay?
Yes.
And we are going to health. We are going to look at how addiction affects our health. Number two, it affects family. It affects the family. You will see your mother worry, okay? If you start taking drugs and substances, your family will be worried. Your relationships with your parents, with your siblings, when maybe you will be marrying or getting into families, you will start not taking responsibility of your family. Okay? So you will be cutting these relationships with your family. Okay?
Yes.
You'll be losing it because you lose focus. I said the disease locks your mind. And you cannot work without your brain. It is the central nervous system. Even when I'm walking like this, it is a coordination from the
legs
brain
to the brain
that make a step. This is a hole. Kanyaga kando. This is a laptop here. So I cannot just move and pass through. It is a coordination from the central nervous
system.
And something here is locking your brain. Actually, it affects the inner part of the brain. It affects a part of the brain that is responsible for pleasure, motivation, and habit formation. That is the basal ganglia, part of the brain. It's called the basal ganglia. So, it is responsible for pleasure, motivation, and habit formation. So when you say you will start waking up at 5, and that part of the brain is already affected by drugs and substances, will you manage?
No.
So that is what addiction does. So if it affects this part of the brain that is responsible for pleasure, and you see, we humans are made up in a way that we have to be happy. Everything we do, our focus is to get happiness, even looking for money, right? Sindio? When you work, what is the purpose of working? You get money.
Income.
And what is the purpose of money?
Solve problems.
Huh? You have a happy life. So it's happiness altogether, right? So this feel good hormone, when this part of the brain that is responsible for pleasure is affected by this drug, you have to take this drug to feel good, to have that pleasure, for dopamine to be produced. Dopamine is the feel good hormone. Okay? You have to go and gamble. You have to go and gamble. Lazima ubet. Ndio usikie mzuri. Ubongo ikwambie sasa niko sawa. Uibe kuku, uende kubet. Kwa sababu utatoa wapi pesa? Kama una at this stage, where can you get money to bet? The only money that you have is pocket money, and that is meant for survival. Okay? And you start betting with the 500 that you are given for survival. After the 500, what will you do? You will sell your textbooks. You will sell your shoes and tell your parents waliiba. Walikanyaga juu ya box. We used to call it flying wings.
Butterfly.
Butterfly. So you stand on your box, inapasuka huku kando, you say, oh, they stole my sweaters and shoes. And you are using that money for betting. Aren't you affecting your family? Aren't you affecting your family? They are now struggling. Already they are struggling to keep you in school. And you are giving them additional struggle. It also affects the hippocampus that is responsible for mood and memory. Okay? This is what addiction as a disease does. It affects the hippocampus, part of the brain that is responsible for mood and memory. So, if the hippocampus is affected and your memory is no longer good, I think we have had an experience with drunkards. Anybody? Anybody who has an experience with drunkards? Having an experience with drunkards is not living with a drunkard. Get me right, okay?
Yes.
Having an experience with drunkards means you have even seen a drunkard. Just seen a drunkard. Anyone who has ever seen a drunkard? Anyone? So these people can do very funny things, okay? They can do very funny things when they are high. When I'm saying high, it means when they are intoxicated, okay? And then tomorrow, they will deny. They will say,
it's not me.
Mimi. Nilikuwa hapo jana. Si mimi. Not that they are wrong. They are right. Because their memory has been affected. Okay?
Yes.
Their memory has been a part of the brain that is responsible for mood and memory has been
Affected.
It is no longer functioning properly. They can no longer recall things. Okay? So it also affects a part of the brain that is responsible for thought coordination. Okay? The cerebellum. Cerebellum is called those masters of biology. I heard you completed Form 4. Here, wait.
No.
You are in Form 4?
Yes.
Oh, so success is in your hands. It's you to decide. Okay?
Yes.
Well, it affects the cerebellum that is responsible for thought processing, coordination and speed. Umeona kuna mtu unaweza uliza unaitwaje? It'll take a minute. That is why. Taking a minute to process your name. The speed. And in exams you are given 40 minutes.
Speed test.
You are given 1 hour to complete how many questions? 50 questions. Now, how will it happen that your memory is affected and your thought processing, coordination, and speed is affected? Will you do that exam?
No. Can't.
Actually, I came to a realization that those who fail exams, it is not always that they don't know. They may be knowing, but they don't remember. Am I right? They are not well prepared. They are not well prepared. That sums it all. Okay? So when these parts of your brain are affected all together, it becomes a problem. Okay? You cannot function properly. Okay? Coming to your social life. When I told you I was in Kenyatta University, and that is where I started, honestly, that is where I started drinking, because in Nyambaria High School I was a Christian, a believer. Let me talk about being a believer. And in Kenyatta University, you see, the problem with our colleges, no one, you are already above, they assume you are a grown-up, above 18 years. You can make decisions. Actually, the government of Kenya, or our government, having 18 years as the age that you take your national
identification,
they assume this is now
a grown-up,
an adult. And by saying you are an adult, it's not owning the ID. It's making, you make decisions by yourself. You can decide what to do about your life. Actually, there are clubs, drinking dens, where you go show your ID. By showing your ID, it means, oh, I'm responsible for I can manage my
health.
So coming here is my own decision. Sindio?
Yes.
Nimekuja hapa na mimi ndiye nimeamua. So I'm getting in. Oh, you show your ID and you just get in. Okay? So your social life, when we were there, I was drinking. I could interact with people. Have you ever gone to a place where, and you even unashtuka hadi you feel you are not part of this? University students are there. They are all, they graduated to university from high school. Walipita wote, sindio? To college. And then people have drunk excessively to a level that you even fear. You're also drinking, but you
fear.
You fear. You fear how? So we can get to this. You see the problem with that, with addiction, you always see yourself as better than your drinking friend. That is the problem. Because your mind is telling you are doing the right thing. See, I told you the mind is the most deceitful of all human creation, right? So your mind is always telling you that you are better than the other. So, umesikia mtu anasema, yule naye amekunywa sana. Yule naye, amekunywa sana. And he still drinks, or she still drinks. Sindio?
Yes.
So, socially, actually it makes you feel like you are cut off. You are cut off from others. You don't have that. Your self-esteem, actually addiction lowers your self-esteem. You cannot go out with others, interact with others as usual. You feel you are not that class. You are no longer that class. You are now, that is when it is in the compulsive stage now. Your self-esteem is lower and you feel you are not part of this. Okay? You feel now, hao watu sasa wananiona aje? Wananiona kama mlevi. It it affects your social life. You cannot interact with people properly. And in any case, you interact with people, you are not talking sense anymore. Because if you are drunk 24/7, what can you say? Can you engage with people? They say soberly. Well, anyway, relationships. You can no longer relate with people well. You can no longer relate with people well when you are an addict. When you are now sick. You see, being an addict, it means you are sick. Actually, I didn't realize it that in campus is where I graduated to being an addict. But I thank God that I graduated from campus with a better grade, 2nd class upper division. Because from then, people we were drinking with have never graduated. And I don't think that they can graduate because can they really remember what we were learning? It's about from 2018. It's 7 years now. Maybe the units have even changed, right? So they have never graduated. So you see, addiction robs men and women their destinies, their future. No, you have not graduated. Where did you go? You were taken to school. I'm telling you, your parents will tell you, we took you to school, yes. You didn't graduate, yes. Now, Japan. But I've seen some other parents are so nice that after someone has pulled out of university or amewacha shule, they still try another time. Oh, now let us take him to another college. Maybe equals the attack without knowing that they are just looking at the tip of the iceberg. They are not dealing with the root problem, the problem itself, which is addiction. Okay? They are looking at, oh, maybe because ataki, ama wanasema sijui watu, they are looking at the tip of the iceberg. So they take him to another, or her, to another course, and he pulls out. You see, this thing can really mess you up and your family. Finances, your finances, pesa. You see, they say a bottle is for the rich. I'm meant to understand that. Let me talk about illicit drink because it's the cheapest. Changa is the cheapest drink that have ever known because I took it. Honestly, I took Changa. Because of financial constraints, I took Changa at some point. So it's the cheapest. But that glass of water, the normal glass of water, you know how many milliliters? The normal glass of water, about 250 milliliters. Around 250 milliliters. 250 milliliters of Changa is about, because 1 liter is 500 shillings. In Kisii, not in Nairobi. In Nairobi it's double. So in Kisii, 1 liter is 500. So 250 milliliters.
250.
250. 500 divided by 4. It's 125. But remember, the smaller the quantity, the higher the price. Yes. Because they are in business. So it's not 125 shillings. It's 200
shillings.
200 shillings. So that glass of water, the water that you just drink, you drink another one, unamwaga huko, is 200 shillings. 200. And mathematically, in someone's payslip, if you calculate very well, in someone's payslip, say a normal civil servant in Kenya, in someone's payslip, 200 shillings is a significant amount per day. 200 shillings is a very significant amount. If you do the mathematics there, utapata after kutoa kila kitu anabaki na pesa kidogo sana per day. Acha niite tu pesa kidogo sana juu hatutaelewa. Hatutaelewa pesa kidogo. So 200 shillings is a significant amount. So making 200 shillings is a problem. And the cheapest alcohol costs
200.
And that will never be enough for a day. Because you have built the tolerance. The tolerance is high that you must take even a liter a day to be contented. So a liter is 1,000 shillings. Where will you get 1,000 shillings
per day?
Anyway. Careers. That is why you get men and women. When we go to Chang'aa then, you get people just seated. A lot of people. They are just seated there. Unashindwa what are niweke hata 10. Unasikia niweke hata 10. Niweke hata 10 mkubwa. Men and women are patronizing drinking there. They are the patrons. Nafiko sasa kiongozi mpe kiti. Ameamkia tu hapo. Niweke mbao basi. Niweke mbao. Mbao is a very small quantity that maybe just to satisfy.
To remove hangovers.
Okay? So I was there. Your career. Now this one is very, very practical. Even your career. I remember I graduated in 2018 and I went to a certain supermarket somewhere in Nairobi. Its name is, I just forgot the first supermarket. Okay, I worked there as a supervisor. I went there as line managers. Okay, and because of my hard work, I was promoted to be the supervisor, right? After a month. So hapo tukachapa kazi and unajua shida ya ukishika pesa unaona ni kama inakuita. Unaona ni kama baadhi zinakaa mzuri. Zimepakwa rangi nzuri. So I'm getting the first salary. Man, I was back. You see, you can be willing to get out, but the chains are too heavy. They pull. You see, wakati una pesa, unasema sawa, mimi nimewacha sasa acha nikafike kazi. You see, from campus I didn't know that I'm an addict. It is now that I'm realizing, I was already addicted from campus. So hapo nikatafuta kazi. Tena hii kazi, najua ile kazi ni kazi noma sana. Inataka mtu sobriety because you are serving, you are one-on-one with customers. And someone cannot allow you to be drunk while you are serving customers. He is in business. Okay? So, kazi ikaisha. Sasa, I went back home. Luckily enough, tena nikapata kazi ingine. As a salesperson. I said I'm an experienced salesperson. Yeah, immediately nikapata tena kazi ingine nikatafuta. I was lucky enough. I've been lucky by the way. Nikapata kazi ingine. Salesperson, platinum credit, selling money. It is the hardest task. Selling quick money is hard. Lakini I made it. From salesperson, I was promoted to loan officer, to team leader. Now here, team leader. Before I was in the verge. Actually, I had a letter of being promoted to. It is called admin. Let me remember the name very well. To administrate that area, the Kikuyu office, Platinum Kikuyu office. Okay. There's a name that they call it. The manager Kikuyu. I was in Platinum Kikuyu. I was moved from town. I was working in CBD, Nairobi, as a salesperson. So I got a promotion to Kikuyu. Loan officer, team leader, blah blah blah. So I have the letter. Tena nikaenda kusele. Inaitwa kusele. Kukunywa huko tena. Alarm inalia hapa, we unafaa kwenda headquarters kufanya nini? Kusign contract letter. Unaona? Contract letter nimetumiwa kwa simu, nimesoma. It is called read, and then you come to accept, to acknowledge, to confirm that you have accepted. You append your signature. Now I'm ready to work in this capacity with the given guidelines. Sasa mimi ndio huyo alarm na snooze. I'm already late. Kuoga mbio hadi unapata mtu kwa barabara unamuuliza nakaa vipi? And then nimetoa local read. Hapo kuna kapombe kalikuwa kanaitwa gin. Chrome gin ni kapombe kakali. 41% concentration. So the ethanol in it is 41% of the content. So if it's 250 ml, 41% of 250 ml nimeme asubuhi na mapema bila kunywa chai, nishameza. So unaenda ofisi. Hadi napata mtu hapo kwa bar hiyo asubuhi nauliza watu sinakaa fiti. Nakaa mle. Wanaweza jua kula manini? Kula mandizi, kula ball gum. So I ate ball gum, mandizi. Getting to the office. Unajua those people have dealt with these people for so long. They can just look at you. You are late. And you are not the Moffat that we know anyway. They can know. Even, you see, your mother can know you have a problem before you tell him. You tell her. Even your father can know, you look different today from the face. So kufika huko, they told me, okay, so you came late and kawambia sijui nini nililala, sijui kifungui kapotea, story mingi. They told me, okay, you will come and sign next week. You just come next week. The letter is there for you. You just come next. So I went. Sasa kurudi tena nikasema nimeshinda. Ilikuwa rahisi hivyo. I've won. So I went back. No. Drinking spree. Actually, I didn't even remember that there was next week that I'm going to sign. I forgot that day. And that is how. So that week I've not been in work in my capacity of sales team leader, and I'm required to sign out as the admin. So I lost it. I just lost it. So after realizing, sijaienda kazi wiki mzima, so another week is coming, I didn't even go. Nikasema nimekuwa mgonjwa or something. So after that I then tena nikapata kazi nyingine. Unaona? Tena nikapata kazi nyingine as a risk manager in Quickmart. Unaona? As a risk manager in Quickmart. So I was managing someone's billions there. You see, Quickmart pipeline in Nairobi is the busiest Quickmart in Kenya, I guess. Because pipeline yenyewe, the streets, asubuhi unadhani ni maandamano. Nadhani watu wako maandamano. And you are the risk manager. And you see the class of people living there are low class. Sasa, ile class ya chini. So, what your risk management should be sharp enough to mitigate any risk of shoplifters, nini, 1, 2, 3. So I was granted with that opportunity. But after 2 months, you can just guess what happened. You can just guess what happened. So it has an effect on career. The worst is when I was working in KCB. Actually, I've been lucky. So the worst is when I was working in KCB. But we will get back. So personal growth. Was I really growing from the story that I've been giving you? Huh? And by the way, let me tell you for free. I'm saying I've been lucky. And here manishi that you will be lucky. You can start at the first job. Yako isha hapo. Sindio? Usiwahi pata kazi tena. How do you feel about that? Usome usiwahi pata kazi. Actually, there are very many sober people out here that have never tested alcohol, that are always in church, but hawajai pata kazi. Sindio? Isn't that true? But I was that lucky. But bado zilikuwa zinaharibika due to alcoholism. My major problem was alcoholism. And getting to this point that I'm saying, oh, my problem is alcoholism. It is not easy to accept. It affects personal growth. Personal growth. Let us go to the next slide. There is a part. Before we go to alcohol and the body, I want to look at the factors that influence addiction. Unakatakata 5 minutes.
Okay.
After 5 minutes, you cut it.